Today's moment in time is December of 1993. This should be an obvious one.
Oh, I was still in high school.
You're damn right you're still in high school, and we found the tapes of it at Simon Gratz, right? Can we run these highlights of what, if you are ever curious as to someone that's back in the day in the 90s before Twitter, before social media, when they had hype coming out of high school into college, you're probably asking yourself, well, what did they look like in comparison to their competition? Now, if we hit the play button here, we're going to see just that. Now, also, I always think about college football, where there's a five-star Alabama recruit playing someone on the other side from like Jacksonville State, who's a farmer's kid. All right, what you are witnessing now is Rasheed Wallace out there in high school, just throwing down all sorts. Look at that, this poor soul that tried to jump with him. Rasheed, take me through this day, take me through this game, and what it was like to run the court as just this unicorn of basketball in this era.
Well, it's the funny thing about it, because we were just mentioning about rivals a second ago. So this is at Reading High, if I'm not mistaken. It was my senior year. So it was kind of sort of a rivalry, because that's where Donyell Marshall, who went to UConn and played in the NBA for some years, I think won a title with Cleveland. That's where he went to high school at. So it was always, even though he's a little bit older than me, I think by like a year or two, it was always some type of comparison between us, like, oh, who was better, power forward, this and that. But I think we played two different positions. You know, he was more of a small forward / power forward. He put the ball on the floor. And me, in high school, I was a strict power forward / center. So my coach didn't allow me to put the ball on the floor unless it was with a post move, opposing to more facing the basket. So we squared off the first time, and you know, we kicked Reading's ass. And then this was the second one. They called us back up. They felt as though that they had a good team. Ooh. And we came along. So my senior year, we won 31-0. My junior and senior year in high school, mainly more my senior year, and I only played the first and third quarter. I only averaged like about maybe 12 or 14 points in those two quarters. But we had a great team. We were number one in the state, even though we weren't allowed back then to compete in the state tournament because we were part of the Philadelphia Public League. And they play in the state tournament now in the Philadelphia Public League. But back then when I was coming up, they didn't, because of something that happened prior. So we were always still ranked number one in the state, and along with our rival high school, they were ranked right there with us in the state. So when we played the state tournament kids or the high state tournament teams, oh yeah, we was like, man, we about to go out here and kick their ass. And then that was like I said, my senior year. So I only played the first and the third quarter, and the guy who played in the second and fourth quarter, he averaged like 20, 22 points. Everything. So our team, we had height. You know, guys was in it. We was dogs. We laid our hat on defense, and man, them was the good years right there. That high school time, man. That's when I was a good athlete, could run and jump.
So two things. For those of you that watched our previous live show, one of the questions I asked Rasheed about was based on a story I heard from Scott Pollard about how an entire AAU camp had to change their rebounding strategy because Rasheed Wallace would keep the ball above his head, and as a result, it was impossible for quite literally anyone on the floor to rebound. And what did we see in those highlights as Rasheed was talking there? There's three different moments of him catching the ball either in transition or on an offensive rebound, and the ball, he's holding it as high as he can possibly hold it. How you have that naturally built in to your basketball portfolio is such a difference, but it's obvious. But people don't do it. They bring the ball down where guards can come down and snatch it. And most of those highlights right there, you've got the ball as high above your head as you possibly could. And Rasheed told the story of how one of his coaches would make him run a mile with the ball above his head so he wouldn't forget. And it's those little things, man. If you're watching this as an aspiring player that's trying to make the league, or maybe you're a parent that's trying to teach a kid, Rasheed Wallace, there's a lot of tall people on this planet, but there's a noticeable difference when that skill is hammered in there. Now, the second part of this observation is you have to know, especially at that age, you're a teenager, you have so much power, man. You have over the crowd, over the women at high school, over the other team. You're out here doing tip slams on just normal people's heads. What's it like to be that dominant at that level? Is it just fun as shit? Because it's okay if the answer's that simple.
Oh yeah, it's definitely fun. No doubt about it. But the what makes it even better was when I was going up against my rivals, or if I was at a basketball camp or something. Now I'm going up against another power forward or center who's the shit in their neighborhood, at their school. So that's what I always like, that whole camaraderie thing. Let's go ahead and battle. Let's go ahead and bang heads. You know what I'm saying, and get that out there. Let's have it. I was never one to back away from a challenge. Period. So if you were, no matter if you was a guard, I'm like, okay, number one guard in the country, number two guard in the country, whatever it may have been, or a big man, power forward, whatever. Yeah, I always took that challenge right there. Loved it since high school because that's what I was born and bred on. Because I think that's kind of sort of comes from the one-on-one with the selfish events with track. Because that's, like, as I said, that's my first love before I started even thinking about basketball. So that one-on-one, like that camaraderie, now I'm going against the best right here. You know what I'm saying? You're out there every week in these track meets and you're going against not necessarily the lower kids, you're going against this kid right next to you in time. So carry that over to basketball. Now, if I'm going against a guy who's ranked another great power forward in the city or the state or the country or even the world on that any level, high school, collegiate, or NBA, yeah, I'm going to step up to that challenge. No doubt about it. And that's what we did in high school.
That was going to answer my follow-up question, which you don't need to do, but once you get an offer from Carolina and you're still playing games, is there a natural tendency to kind of sit on it, knowing like, I don't want to mess this up and get hurt? But it sounds like the answer is no. We came to compete, and that's not the way that these guys that make it to this point think. Like, all right, I made it here, I'll just coast. Maybe more so in the NFL because it's such physical contact, and you want to make sure that you get your guarantee. That's more a product of the business. That's based on like the guarantees with the contracts and stuff like that. So I understand that, but good to know. Nice. It's always nice to go back in time a little bit with Rasheed and get the mentality of someone that was so highly regarded without the likes of a mixtape and social media, and how long it took me to find this footage of. I don't know if you had seen that, but I'll keep digging for stuff like that.